Hello, hello. Magandang umaga po. Makibalita naman tayo ngayon ulit sa ating mga kaibigan sa Calgary. But you know, Monday mornings is a unique and very good, feel-good show that we have here on the Ordinary Joe Show. None other than the Filipino Calgarian, Mr. Jerry Kainkoy. But before we get started officially, let's just have a little sneak peek what Tito is gonna talk about today. Hello, Tito. Kamusta po, Tito Jerry?
Hi, Joey. Kumusta? I'm good. I'm good. It's nice to see you once again.
Yes.
And thanks for having me. I'm very excited for today's episode.
Awesome. So today is the fourth episode for 2021. Wow, time flies. So I'm looking forward to this episode. And don't go away. This is the Filipino Calgarian with Tito Jerry Kainkoy. Hello, Tito Jerry. Just do a welcome and then we'll get to our dialogue for a little bit.
Yes, good morning sa inyong lahat. Kumusta kayo dyan? It's a beautiful Monday morning once again. Andito na naman tayo sa ating weekly episode on the Filipino Calgarian. I'm your host, Jerry Kainkoy, all the way here from the beautiful city of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Joey, how are you?
I'm very good, Tito. So tell us a little bit what's any fun adventures you did this week?
Yes, I'm very excited to let you know that it's still very cold here in Calgary. As you know, I have been going outdoors, and it's really a good experience for us to get our bodies, out there active on the cold, and at the same time, really experience the beauty of winter. So last 2 days actually started to. Be very cold from minus 22 to minus 29 today.
Woohoo!
And as you have seen on my Facebook post, I actually did for the longest time. I haven't done this. So I decided in the middle of extreme weather temperature of minus 22 to minus 25, I went on sledding or tobogganing, as you can see on the screen right now. I
Wow.
was actually, it's been a while that I haven't done this.
Who's taking your video, Tito?
It was actually my son who was taking the videos from my back. I, kind of convinced him to join me because he's not really a fan on a fan of this. So yeah, so it's been a while, so I was scared for the first try. So I had to do like halfway. And on my succeeding try, I went really up the way on top of the hill. So that was really fun.
Did your son got born in Canada po, or he was
No,
already teenager when he came?
no, we migrated here when he was about 8 years old.
8 years old. So you might remember when he was 8. He might remember you taking him to go sledding. Now the roles are reversed. Siya naman he's taking you out to go sledding.
That's right. That's right. I think that is a very good observation. I just decided to go to this hill, which is actually very close to our place, which is just actually 5 minutes drive from my house.
Mhm.
It's if you look at it, it looks like I went to somewhere far from my place, but it's just actually five
Just
minutes from
across.
my place.
So you just walk. But I can see that you did some winter driving too.
Yes, last week I talked about my trip to Kananaskis country, so I just wanted to show to you that is now being flashed on the screen. the road to Kananaskis country, which
Wow.
is actually uh, considered to be the foothills and front ranges of the Canadian Rockies. So as you can see, as we were driving, we're almost on both sides. We're almost close to the mountains, right?
This is almost like a postcard picture perfect scenery. Wow.
Yes,
How many how is that the whole how long was your trip? Is like an hour trip, 2 hours?
it's an hour drive from my place in Calgary to Kananaskis country. It's about 99 kilometers away from Calgary.
And so for the whole hour, this is the scenery you have for the whole
Yes,
hour?
never ending, breathtaking
Wow.
scenes like this. So, while you're driving, actually, you will feel that you're already, relaxing and,
Yes, that's
you
what we were
know,
talking about last week.
uh, very, very enjoyable, actually. Just going on for a drive for an hour, you'll never get tired.
Wow. Yeah, we are talking about last week. You said, it's not always the destination, but the journey to your
Yes.
destination. By the time you get there, parang yung vacation nyo is already, wow, halfway enjoyed.
Yes.
Di ba?
And
Ang ganda,
as I
oh.
mentioned, really, it's a great privilege for us to be in a place that we can enjoy the best of nature with this kind of view. It's really a blessing. It's almost like you're close to the heaven,
I
right?
know that. I can see that. This is well. There you go, folks. If you are really planning to see all of Canada, make sure that you don't miss Calgary as one of the destination cities to check out because, as you can see, so much nature, so much. It's a lovely picturesque. Pang postcard talaga. Pang
Hmm.
postcard yung you enjoying that on a daily basis. That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Tito. We actually have some more photos we'll also share on the edited version. But there you go. So that's wonderful. Calgary is definitely one of the bucket list for Filipino Canadians. If you live in Canada, or even if you're just visiting, and we'll talk to our American Filipino American cousins too. They should check out and come, even if it's winter time. Don't think na it's winter. We won't go to Canada. There's nothing to see in Canada. It's all just white snow. No, that's not true. There's a lot of fun activity, and then there's also a lot of things to see during the winter. How did you enjoy that trip, Tito?
One of the best trips I've ever had, and you'll never really get tired of the beauty of nature here in Calgary and in Alberta per se, or the rest of Canada. There's always something to really look forward to. But one thing unique about Calgary, although occasionally it can get very cold in Calgary,
Mm-hmm.
it could go down to minus 30 degrees,
Ooh, parang
and
sa
on the
moon.
yes, and on the average, it could be during winter, it could be -5 to -10 degrees Celsius. But one interesting thing about Calgary is that while it's cold in the winter,
It's warm.
Calgary is known to be the sunniest city in Calgary,
Even
in Canada.
okay, so winter time, it doesn't always snow. Even though it's winter, it's cold, but it's still sunny.
Yeah, the sunniest place that you can visit in Canada is Calgary.
Wow.
So,
So
like
it means pang
today,
Instagram pa rin. Pang
yes,
Instagram pa rin.
yeah, today minus 29, but the sun is so bright. It's just like, like to, broad daylight, and with the snow all over the place, it makes it all the more beautiful. The place becomes so lighted
Yeah.
and very bright. The trees and everything just glow and sparkles.
That's awesome. That's and it's actually almost 6 o'clock there now in Calgary, I think.
Yes, and we still have it's still
You
bright
have
outside.
right outside. All right.
Yes.
So what are you gonna be talking about today in the Filipino Calgarian Insights?
Joey, it's more than a year that we have been in this pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and as we have observed for the last couple of months, everyone just everyone drove into everyone kind of even those friends that I had before that are not so techy about internet or going
Yeah,
into online, they're now online. Even churches are now online.
yeah.
So
Everybody
what
is
I
now
want
just
to
meeting
talk,
online.
yeah, what I want to talk about today is just about how are we as a community being in such a virtual world that we are in,
Wow,
Joey. You know, very
I know.
interesting topic, right?
It's very
And
interesting
just
topic.
yeah, just to kind of talk about how are we faring as a community in terms of being in this virtual world. How
Yeah.
are we in terms of doing our work in the workplace? How are
How-
we in terms of doing our business
Yeah.
being in this virtual world? So I think let's start with being in a virtual community.
All right.
As you have seen me in the past, I'm one person is always out there, always on the go. Filipino
Yeah.
community is always known to have events every now and then. Almost every week, there would be parties, events, gatherings. And personally, it's a major impact to me
Yeah.
because
You're
all of a sudden I have to stay home, work from home,
wow.
and do everything virtual. Even going to the groceries, which we will talk later, has also become virtual
Yes,
because we can now do online groceries or
and just pick
shopping.
it up after or have it delivered.
Yes. So
All right.
Joey, let's talk about being in a virtual community, and it's amazing that we as Filipinos, we are what we call very maano tayo
Social.
madiskarte,
Madiskarte.
madiskarte. There's always a way for us to get together even in this virtual community.
All right.
Dami nating nakikita sa ating community dito sa Calgary na mga events that are being held on a
Virtually na.
virtual platform.
All
May
right.
mga
So let me turn it over to you, Tito. So Tito Jerry, as you guys know, he is one of the most active and many of the Filipino community leaders or advocates or influencers that we know. Pagka yung in normal times out of the pandemic, that is their lifestyle. Every weekend they're invited to events or they visit friends, they visit there's always meetings planning for the next one. That's the kind of lifestyle when you are a community leader, and that's the kind of lifestyle Tito Jerry has been living on for many years until boom 2020 all of a sudden you have to do everything virtual. So I'll turn it over to you, Tito, and I'm looking forward to get your insights on what's happening with us and how are we surviving, or should uh, is the virtual lifestyle that we have keeping the the heat up so that when we're finally done with all the virtual events, when we come back out in the open or in real life meetings, that the energy is still up. So I'll turn it over to you. Thank you for talking about this, Tito Jerry Kenkoy, the Filipino Calgarian.
Thank you, Joey. It's definitely a challenge for all of us, those who are involved in the community, those who are doing events before the pandemic, those who are always out there to reach out and help build our community. It's a bit of a challenge because of all these restrictions. Hindi tayo nakakagawa ng event na mabilisan at definitely the strategies and the planning has changed as well. So over the last couple of months, talagang nakita natin yung pagbaba ng ating mga community events, especially those that require a massive attendance from the community. And at the same time, nakakaapekto din siya sa ating sa health or vibrancy ng ating community because we don't get to meet, we don't get to create the traffic that we used to have, not only in terms of getting to know one another, networking, but as well as also helping our businesses thrive. Because of these events, marami
Mhm.
pong mga negosyante na talagang they're able to expose or they're able to present their products and services to the community. Pero nung nag-umpisa na yung pandemic talagang nahirapan tayo at nag-umpisa tayong nangapa until
Yeah.
after a couple of months we have seen mga virtual events na
Mhm.
nakikita natin sa community. And there's always a way for us to get connected. Isa sa mga events na nakikita ko na ginagawa dito virtually ay yung I have a friend,
Mhm.
very strong supporter of the Filipino Champions of Canada. In fact, they have been our partners sa mga major events namin. They're from Escape Events and Production. And then one of the events na pinoproduce nila ay ito yung Zumba with Tina. Tina is one of
Mm.
the,
Yes. Yeah.
the
Mhm.
figurehead of Escape Events and Production. So before the pandemic, ang Zumba talaga ay napakalaking
Yes. It's a
grupo
vibrant.
dito sa
Yeah.
Calgary and all over the world. And to me, from being based on my observation talaga, ang Zumba is a crowd drawer. At saka
Yes.
over the last couple of years, Joey, ang
Yes.
Zumba ay naging effective platform not only in providing an avenue for people to get healthy, to get
Mhm.
active, but also it is a very effective platform in bringing the community together.
You're right.
And more than that, Joey, ang Zumba ay naging isang effective way also of fundraising.
That's
And nakita ko maraming mga Zumba events prior to pandemic na nagre-raise ng funds, nagre-raise ng mga funds for good causes. For example, itong Zumba with Tina, which is actually very, very, which is a very strong supporter of the Filipino Champions of Canada, and we also support them in their events. Prior to the pandemic, they actually organized the biggest Zumba. It's not just a Zumba, it's really a dance party, that is for a good cause. That particular event brought thousands of people, more than 1,000 people into one event, into one big event place. That event was organized, and part of the profits was actually donated to a charitable institution that would help the Philippines. One of the schools in the Philippines, Isabela,
wow.
Philippines, to rebuild that school, elementary school in
Wow.
Isabela, Philippines. And after that, marami ng mga fundraising events na Zumba ang platform. And
Mhm.
and every week, Zumba with Tina, one of the most popular Zumba instructors here in Calgary, very active, very regular. She conducts Zumba classes and
Mhm.
dances to mga students niya dito sa Calgary. When
Mhm.
this pandemic happened, of course nagbago yung mga guidelines, then they
Yes.
have to adjust to the safety protocols hanggat sa hindi na pwedeng mag-attend ng in person. So for the last couple of months na hindi pa pwede yung social gathering or yung gathering ng classes,
Mhm.
they actually created a virtual Zumba class.
Mm.
So, which is very effective because people can, just tune in and watch and, do their Zumba classes. So that's one thing that I have seen here na naging effective, na talagang napaka-importante, especially during this pandemic, that you cannot go out and as much as possible, you're trying to limit yung person-to-person contact.
Mhm.
Ito yung napaka-magandang way para you can remain healthy. Kasi yung mga gym na shut down also,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
hindi ka pwedeng pumunta sa gym. And then you cannot also go out with people na are not in the same household. So this is one of the most effective way na pwede pa rin natin ma-maintain yung ating health and well-being. And so, yan, isa sa mga virtual event na nakita ko that has been ongoing na napaka-successful. Ito yung Zumba na virtual classes ng Zumba with Tina. And also, they also had this virtual concert, right? So, very interesting because yung concert natin before, we have to go to a place and watch in person, right? Pero dito, it's just like you watching it on YouTube or watching it online, but only those who have a ticket can watch that show.
Oh, anong platform po yan pagka ganyan? Is it
Parang
Zoom?
Zoom din. Zoom.
I didn't know
Yeah.
you can charge on Zoom.
I'm not really sure how they did it,
Mhm.
but so kami na manunood, binigyan kami ng link
Okay.
through a Zoom link na doon kami magwa-watch ng
I
show.
see. Mhm.
And we have to log in, katulad din ng ginagawa natin, may oras para mag-login kami, and at the same time mawa-watch na namin yung show. Only those who have the
I
ticket.
see. Okay.
Yes. And ang maganda naman na nakita ko rin sa virtual community is that dahil wala ng limit yung distance,
Mhm.
things na hindi natin nagagawa before because we're so focused on the place and location and
The local.
the distance,
Mhm.
nagiging localized ang ating
Mhm.
focus.
Mhm.
Pero ngayon with this virtual community, naging borderless.
Yes.
Naging borderless. So yun ang maganda, Joey, kasi
Mhm.
kung hindi tayo naging virtual community, siguro hindi rin ito mangyayari na we have this episode on the Filipino Calgarian, which is really a very cool platform to get connected despite our distance.
That's
And
right.
at the end of the day, we in the community, kahit saan man tayo in Canada, as a Filipino community, we always dream of one day na we will be so connected and so united is a big word,
Mhm.
at least connected,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now we have this passageway that everyone has this passageway into our community. Despite siguro sabihin natin we may have a different views and opinion on certain things, but at least one day we're hoping that we can be so connected that
Yes.
we can really be a strong community, because a connected community is a strong community.
That's right. That's right. Well, even this one that we're doing right now is born of that virtual
Yes.
practice. The new. Well, some people want to use the word the new normal. Well, I think virtual has been something that I have been trying to advocate kahit yung mga pagka hina-hire po ako dito kasi ng mga event producers, mga concert producers. I always been telling my producer clients, you need to go maybe semi-virtual so that you can reach more people who cannot come here and go borderless like what you said. But at the same time also yung sabi ko yung promotion should be digital and not just limit to postering or selling tickets or non-digital dahil nga limited yung reach ng non-digital. But that's awesome that all of these are happening. Yung Zumba, Tito, we also had when I first got started with the community. Our Zumba, some of our Zumba leaders here is from Ajax. His name is Felix. And then we also have the Philippine Chamber of Commerce in Toronto. The board secretary who's on board. They started the biggest Zumba also in 2018. They rented a big stadium sa Centennial College and they were expecting 10,000. They
Wow.
were expecting 10,000. It didn't turn out to be 10,000, but the place would have been able to hold 10,000. Kasi ang ginawa po nila, yung mga tinatawag nilang ZIN, no?
Zin.
ZIN,
Yes.
yung Zumba instructor or licensed
Yes.
instructor. Every single one of them, they have a following. Maybe, every one ZIN have at least 50 students or 100 students. And they figured they gathered like more than 100 zins together to collaborate and bring in 10,000. It didn't pan out as 10,000, but I can see how it can work. And Zumba definitely is. Siguro Tito, si Zin Tina, let's invite her to, or maybe ask her for some footage that we can feature next time we talk about her.
Yes. Shout out to Tina Makapili,
Uh-huh.
the most popular, one of the most popular Zumba instructors here in
In
Calgary.
Calgary.
She's not just a Zumba instructor, she's also a really good community leader. She supports our community outreaches. She has her own outreach as well, and she's always doing Zumba with a cause or for a cause. and also to Tina, also to Kathy Arellano. One day, maybe we could invite them to our Monday show
The
and
Filipino
talk
Calderian.
about
Yeah.
whatever they have, whatever events that they have planned for this year. So
Yes.
that's one, Joey. I've also observed other virtual events such as mga virtual awarding of
Oh, okay.
awards, virtual awards, virtual birthday parties, virtual virtual how do you call this, virtual prayer meetings,
Oh, prayer meeting.
which
Yeah, yeah.
the churches are doing right now.
Yes, yes,
uh,
yes.
of course,
Sunday
before
services.
yung wala pang pandemic, yung pag pinapadalhan tayo ng tawag dito ng invite for a webinar, parang ayaw natin. Parang sabi natin, ano ba yan, ayaw ko, parang nakakaantok, and it's not something appealing to most of
Yeah.
us. Pero
Mhm.
now with this virtual world, with the virtual world that we are
Yes.
in now,
Mhm.
parang nasasanay na tayo na lahat ng ating mga meetings are virtual, lahat ng ating mga seminars are virtual.
Yes.
And even with the seminars, Joey, napansin ko na, you know, uh, even during seminars, you can
Mhm.
also allow people attending your seminar to go into groups. Meron tinatawag na
Oh, yeah.
breakout session where
Breakout
they
session.
go into one group where they are assigned to discuss about what, what was the topic that was discussed. And sabi ko, it's almost the same as really being in one place, minus getting to know or meeting people in person.
Yes.
But all the other goals, all the other objectives ay talagang na-achieve naman.
Mhm.
Na-achieve naman. So, yeah, I think we're getting used to the virtual community, to the virtual world that we are in right now, and I'm impressed actually dun sa mga strategies and new ways of doing things virtually na nakikita ko. Even when you are sending an invite for a Zoom interview or Zoom meeting,
Mhm.
marami na ring mga apps na lumabas, hindi lang yung Zoom. Meron na
Yeah,
tinatawag
to support.
Teams. May Teams,
Yeah.
may Meet, and so you just have to be familiar with how these apps work and maximize its potential para maging productive ang virtual meetings or virtual event. So yeah, I think that's still I think very para sa akin very commendable na nagagawa pa rin natin. And this is one thing that I have to say. As
Mhm.
community leaders, I think this pandemic has challenged us in a way also how we can continue to reach out to our community, how we can continue to advocate for our community with all these restrictions and mga limitations na hindi natin nagagawa if we are not we're not
Creative.
creative, hindi tayo medyo aggressive in a way na makahanap tayo ng paraan. This will
Mhm.
actually deter you from doing things. And
Yes.
dito talaga na-challenge yung leadership skills mo. Dito na-challenge yung how true you are, how true and how genuine you are as a leader, na hindi ka nawala, na hindi ka nalubog during this pandemic
Mm.
because ang importante, Joey, ang pinaka-importante pa during this pandemic, ito pa yung panahon na while we are so restricted to do things on a community level,
Mhm.
ito din yung panahon na importante sa atin na maging connected sa ating community.
Yes,
So
yes.
how we do things on a virtual community as a community leader will really tell and will really define who you are as a leader.
Yes.
Kasi at the end of this pandemic, lalabas yung resulta na, I was never away. I was always there. And, I made sure that we can still advocate, we can still continue to connect with our community despite the limitation. So, ang challenge ko and encouragement sa mga community leaders, not only here in Calgary, but also the rest of Canada, as we continue with this virtual world that we are in, we have to be, creative so that we can continue to advocate for our community.
That is awesome, Tito. And I was gonna ask you, but we're running out of time. Maybe we have a couple of more minutes or so. But definitely this virtual world where we live in, there's so many advantages, but definitely there are some disadvantages too that we have to keep an eye on. Especially like, kahit ngayong mga estudyante natin, yung mga maliliit na bata, they also, here in Ontario, they also meet for class, yung classes nila, through Zoom. And they're getting used to it. And even some of the games, like my daughter is 9 years old, her and her friends, they like to meet online playing games. Mga popular games today is called uh, Roblox. There's one that's one of the building games that they can build together, like a simulation game. And then the other one is called it's escaping me right now, but it's about building blocks. But sometimes safety needs to be conscious too, because little kids sometimes friend sila through those games. They get random friends who request, starting chatting with them. So we have to keep an eye on our kids when they are on the internet. Kaya nga yung aking 9-year-old, she's allowed to play all her online game. The only ano namin sa kanya, the only condition is that she only plays with people she know, her classmate and her best friend. Actually, they create their own virtual space na sila lang dalawa doon. So we know that there's no random stranger coming in and start talking to them. Kasi alam niyo naman po sa virtual world, sometimes they put on the very cute little girl profile photo, but behind the photo pala is like a 50-year-old fat DOM.
Mm.
So things like that. But with the last minute that we have, Tito, what are some of the safety and that you can recommend about the virtual world, and tell a little bit about what we are going to talk about next week.
All right, Joey. For those who are still, trying to find out how they can navigate through this virtual world that we are in, there's just so many things that you can do that will make your time more productive. If you love to teach, make your probably you can do an online teaching. There's a lot of opportunities that you can do that. If you have something, a product or a service, of course it's important that your presence will be online. Facebook is a free account, Instagram,
Mhm.
and I have seen so many startups who's doing really very well right now just because of their online presence through social media. So everyone now has to be seen on social media or online so that you can promote your products or services. And others, if you're bored and you just want to communicate and express your passion, whatever skills you have, then a lot of people right now are vlogging. They could create their own YouTube account and
Yes.
vlog something that they are interested. So there's so many opportunities that you can take advantage in this virtual community. And I guess, Joey, those who are able to set up themselves
Mhm.
well and create a foundation for their business, for their career, or for community, an online platform that is stable, that is safe, that is effective. These
Mhm.
are the people or community or organizations or businesses that can really fare well when this pandemic is over, because virtual or online will always be there regardless of whether there is pandemic or not. So the ones that are able to set up their business presence, their community online, are the ones that could really do well even after this pandemic. So yeah, so that's the things that I want to share today, Joey, and
Mhm.
we can continue to talk about community events that are being held virtually as we continue with our, maybe next week we'll report on some new events that I have seen in our community.
Yeah.
And then I will also talk about, maybe next week we can have another a guest from Calgary who's doing something that is encouraging or inspiring in the midst of pandemic.
Mhm.
in the hope of inspiring other people. So that would be very exciting if we could, bring in someone who could share also their insights, Joey.
That would be awesome. A lot of us here in Ontario are looking forward to every week to get to know more what's going on, what's happening with our kababayans there in Calgary, because we are one big community. Although we are from different time zones, like right now, you're 2 hours behind, and we were 2 hours ahead here in Toronto. But still, we are able to meet virtually, and a lot of you're starting to build a following here in Ontario as well, and hopefully, we are still being watched very widely in Calgary and in Alberta as well. So, with that, we'll say goodbye for now, but next week we are looking forward to more adventures, maybe, or some certain important issues, right, Tito, for next week? So
Yes, Joey.
invite them next week, po.
Yes, Joey, thanks once again for this wonderful episode on the Filipino Calgarian on OJTV. And thanks for watching at salamat sa inyong patuloy na pagsusubaybay sa amin dito. And to the rest of Canada, magandang araw po sa inyong lahat, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And to our friends in the Philippines, thank you for joining us. Magandang gabi. Until next time, I'm your host, Jerry Kainkoy.
And I was your co-host and on the technicals, Joey Salvador, and you've been watching the Filipino Calgarian right here on the Ordinary Joe. See you again next week.